If you are over 70 and you drink water the same way you always have, your muscles may be weakening every single day without you realizing it. Your thinking may be slowing. Your heart may be under silent strain. And the most dangerous part is this: it all feels completely normal. No sharp pain. No clear warning. No dramatic signal that something is wrong. Just subtle fatigue, unsteady steps, foggy moments, and the quiet belief that this is simply what aging feels like. But it isn't. New medical evidence now confirms that after 70, hydration no longer works the way it did in earlier decades. Yet millions of seniors are still following rules designed for much younger bodies. I have watched patients in their late 70s and early 80s walk into clinics exhausted, dizzy, and mentally overwhelmed, fully convinced their decline was permanent. And then I have seen many of them regain strength, clarity, and stability through one simple change in how they drink water. No new drugs. No complex treatments. Just a correction of a hidden daily mistake. If your thirst is weaker than it used to be, if rest no longer restores your energy, if walking feels heavier than it should, this may not be just aging. It may be your body quietly asking for help in a way you were never taught to recognize. After 70, several invisible biological shifts change everything. The brain becomes less sensitive to thirst signals because the internal sensors that detect fluid balance lose their sharpness with age. The kidneys become slower and less efficient at conserving water, so fluid is lost more easily and replaced less effectively. Even at the microscopic level, cell membranes thicken and become less permeable, making it harder for water to enter the places where it is needed most. This creates a dangerous paradox. Your body can be dehydrated without sending clear warning signals, and even when you drink, your cells may not absorb that water properly. The result is a chronic, low-grade dehydration state that many seniors live in for years without ever knowing it. The symptoms rarely appear as one obvious problem. They show up as scattered signs that seem unrelated at first: constant fatigue, weaker legs, mental fog, unsteady balance, changes in mood. But they are all connected by the same invisible thread. This is why so many older adults are told that their struggles are simply part of growing older. The truth is far more precise and far more hopeful. Your body has not lost its ability to respond. It has lost its margin for error. The strategies that worked at 40 or 50 no longer work the same way at 70 or 80. When hydration is mismanaged, decline accelerates quietly. When hydration is corrected with age-appropriate precision, the body often rebounds in ways that even experienced physicians find surprising. And this is where everything begins to change, because in a moment you're going to see the exact daily mistakes that silently drain strength, clarity, and balance from so many seniors, and how quickly this process can be slowed, stabilized, and in many cases reversed once the first mistake is corrected. The first and most damaging mistake is drinking too much water at once, a habit most seniors carry over from younger years without realizing how risky it becomes with age. Many still follow the familiar 8 glasses a day rule, believing that more water at one time must mean better hydration. After 70, that rule can quietly work against you. The heart becomes far more sensitive to sudden changes in blood volume, and the kidneys become slower and less precise at adjusting fluid balance. When a large amount of water enters the bloodstream too quickly, sodium levels can drop rapidly, creating a dangerous condition known as dilutional hyponatremia. This can trigger dizziness, nausea, muscle weakness, confusion, irregular heartbeat, and in severe cases, sudden collapse without warning. A 74-year-old woman I worked with drank 2 full glasses the moment she woke up every morning, convinced she was giving her body the healthiest possible start to the day. Instead, she began experiencing daily fatigue, lightheadedness, and frightening heart palpitations that left her afraid to leave the house. Medical tests revealed no new disease. Only when her drinking pattern was changed to small, steady sips spaced evenly across the day did the palpitations fade, her energy stabilize, and the dizziness disappear within 2 weeks. The total amount of water she consumed barely changed. Only the timing did. For aging bodies, How water enters the system matters just as much as how much enters it. The second mistake is drinking too close to bedtime. Many seniors realize late in the day that they have not consumed enough water and try to make up for it in the evening. This instinct is understandable, but it backfires. At night, the body shifts into deep repair mode. The brain activates internal cleansing systems, hormones rebalance, and tissues begin to recover from the stress of the day. Heavy evening hydration forces the bladder to stay active while the brain is trying to enter sustained deep sleep. This leads to repeated nighttime awakenings, fragmented REM cycles, and a sharply increased risk of falls during trips to the bathroom in the dark. Broken sleep also worsens memory, weakens immune defense, destabilizes blood pressure, and raises anxiety the following day. Over time, this pattern quietly accelerates physical and cognitive decline. The safer strategy is to complete most daily hydration 1.5 to 2 hours before bed, not at the final moments of the evening. When hydration is handled earlier, sleep becomes deeper, longer, and far more restorative. The third mistake is waiting until you feel thirsty. After 70, thirst is no longer a reliable guide. The neurological sensors that detect fluid imbalance gradually become dulled with age. By the time thirst is noticeable, dehydration has often already reached a level that affects circulation, balance, and mental processing. A 79-year-old man once told me he almost never drank water because he simply never felt thirsty. Yet he suffered daily from leg cramps, mental confusion, and crushing exhaustion that made even short walks feel overwhelming. He believed these were unavoidable signs of aging. In reality, his body was simply lacking consistent fluid input. Once he adopted a structured sipping routine, taking small amounts at regular intervals instead of waiting for thirst, his strength began returning, his thinking cleared, and his stamina slowly rebuilt over the following weeks. After 70, thirst becomes a late warning signal, not a protective guide. Structure must replace instinct, and when it does, the body often responds far more powerfully than most people expect. What most seniors never realize is that dehydration does not simply make you feel tired for a few hours. It actively accelerates the physical and mental decline that many believe is unavoidable with age. Every step you take, every object you lift, and every movement you make depends on one hidden factor that is rarely discussed in aging: fluid inside your muscles. Muscle tissue is nearly 76% water. When hydration drops, oxygen, glucose, and amino acids struggle to reach muscle fibers efficiently. At the same time, metabolic waste begins to accumulate inside the tissue. The result is stiffness, weakness, slower recovery, and a deep fatigue that seems to appear out of nowhere. Over time, this creates a dangerous downward spiral. Muscles become less responsive. Effort feels heavier. Balance weakens. And strength fades faster than it should. In more advanced stages, the body enters survival mode and begins breaking down its own muscle tissue to extract water for vital organs such as the heart and the brain. This hidden process is one of the most powerful biological forces behind sarcopenia, the rapid muscle loss that quietly steals independence from millions of adults after 70. Clinical research confirms that this is not theory. In one controlled study, seniors who were only mildly dehydrated showed more than 13% less muscle mass than well-hydrated peers, even when both groups consumed similar diets and followed similar exercise routines. Hydration alone was enough to determine whether muscle was preserved or lost. A former Marine in his late 70s once came to me frustrated and discouraged. He trained regularly, lifted light weights, consumed high-protein meals, and followed every fitness guideline he could find. Yet his strength continued to decline. Rising from a chair became difficult. His knees felt unstable on stairs. His grip weakened to the point that opening jars became a struggle. Testing revealed that he was chronically underhydrated despite believing he drank enough water every day. Once his hydration pattern was corrected with consistent small intakes spread across the day, his grip strength improved, his knees stopped buckling, and his confidence returned within 2 months. Nothing else in his routine changed. Only water timing changed. That was enough to reverse the direction of his decline. The brain is just as vulnerable to dehydration as the muscles, and often even more sensitive. The human brain is roughly 75% water. Every electrical signal, every memory formed, every word retrieved, and every decision made depends on precise fluid balance. Even mild dehydration reduces blood flow to the brain, slows neural transmission, and disrupts the chemical balance that regulates mood and focus. Reaction time drops. Word retrieval becomes harder. Short-term memory weakens. At the same time, dehydration raises cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, while lowering dopamine, the chemical that supports motivation, pleasure, and emotional stability. This is why dehydration in seniors often appears not only as confusion, but also as anxiety, irritability, emotional flatness, and unexplained sadness that seems to have no clear cause. One retired librarian in her 80s believed she was losing her mind when she could no longer finish crossword puzzles she once solved effortlessly. Medical testing ruled out dementia, stroke, and major neurological disease. What remained was a long-standing pattern of low fluid intake. After 3 weeks of structured hydration, her mental sharpness returned, her concentration improved, and her confidence was restored. Water does not merely sustain survival at advanced age. It preserves strength, protects memory, regulates emotion, and safeguards the clarity that defines independence. Here is the exact daily hydration structure that has been used successfully with hundreds of seniors to restore energy, stabilize circulation, and protect both strength and mental clarity. The day begins with 4 to 6 ounces of warm water within the first minutes after waking. During the night, your body loses fluid through breathing and basic metabolism, even if you never notice it. This first gentle intake reactivates circulation, supports the heart, and restarts digestion without stressing the system. Cold water first thing in the morning can tighten the stomach and slow natural movement in older adults, which is why warmth is preferred. Before each meal, 3 to 4 ounces of water prepare the digestive tract to receive nutrients more efficiently. The same amount after the meal helps move those nutrients into the bloodstream without diluting stomach acid. Large volumes during meals are avoided because they frequently cause bloating, sluggish digestion, reflux, and pressure on the heart in aging bodies. Additional water is added after light physical activity, household chores, gardening, or walking, even when thirst is absent. Physical movement increases fluid loss through the lungs and skin, and seniors often do not sense this loss in real time. These small post-activity amounts prevent the delayed fatigue, dizziness, and leg weakness that often appear later in the day. The final hydration window falls strictly between 6:30 and 8 in the evening. During this period, only small, controlled sips are taken. This timing gives the body what it needs to support overnight repair without overloading the bladder during sleep. Drinking large volumes later in the evening disrupts deep sleep, increases fall risk, and interferes with the brain's nighttime cleansing systems. A small glass is always used instead of a large bottle. Large containers promote unconscious overdrinking and sudden fluid spikes that strain the heart and kidneys. After 70, precision matters far more than volume. For anyone with heart or kidney disease, hydration timing and amounts should always follow a physician's guidance, as individual limits may differ. It is equally important to recognize early warning signs of dehydration in seniors, because they often appear quietly and are frequently mistaken for normal aging. Sudden fatigue without obvious cause is one of the most common early signals. Lightheadedness when standing reflects reduced blood volume and unstable pressure control. Mood swings, irritability, or unexplained anxiety often arise when stress hormones increase under poor brain hydration. Confusion, difficulty finding words, and lapses in short-term memory signal reduced cerebral fluid balance. Dark-colored urine remains one of the most reliable physical indicators. Dry mouth is not an early warning sign in seniors. By the time it appears, dehydration has often been present for hours. Not all beverages hydrate, and several common choices actively worsen hydration in older adults. Fruit juice, even when labeled natural, floods the bloodstream with concentrated sugar that pulls water away from tissues during digestion. Regular and diet sodas irritate the kidneys and promote fluid loss. Sugary sports drinks overwhelm the system with unnecessary glucose and chemical additives. Late-day coffee acts as both a stimulant and a diuretic, disrupting hydration and sleep simultaneously. Alcohol in the evening compounds dehydration while impairing balance, reaction time, and nighttime safety. The safest daily choices remain plain water, herbal teas, lightly diluted lemon water for gentle flavor, and low-sugar electrolyte water when additional minerals are truly needed. This structure works not by forcing water into the body, but by synchronizing hydration with how the aging system now absorbs, distributes, and protects fluid. Your body performs most of its deepest repair work while you sleep, but this restoration can only happen if hydration has been handled correctly beforehand. During the night, the brain activates internal cleansing systems that flush metabolic waste, nerve cells recalibrate their electrical balance, hormones reset for the next day, and tissues across the body shift into full recovery mode. None of this works properly if your fluid balance is unstable when you go to bed. The final small sips between 6:30 and 8 in the evening give your body enough water to power these processes without overloading the bladder while you rest. When large amounts of fluid are consumed after 8, the risk of repeated bathroom trips rises sharply. Each awakening fragments deep sleep, interrupts brain repair cycles, and increases fall risk in dark conditions. Over time, this pattern silently produces chronic fatigue, weaker memory, unstable blood pressure, and reduced immune resistance. A quiet bedroom humidifier adds another layer of protection by reducing fluid loss through breathing over 8 hours of sleep, especially in dry indoor air. Slight foot elevation during sleep supports venous return, limits fluid pooling in the legs, and reduces nighttime pressure on the bladder, helping sleep remain uninterrupted and restorative. When hydration is finally aligned with the body's natural rhythm, change often begins faster than most people expect. During the first 2 days, digestion becomes smoother, circulation stabilizes, and the constant exhaustion many seniors accept as normal begins to loosen its grip. Headaches, dizziness, and afternoon crashes frequently diminish during this early phase. By days 3 and 4, mental fog starts to lift. Focus sharpens. Emotional steadiness improves. Word recall becomes easier. Sleep begins to feel deeper instead of broken. By days 5 and 6, physical confidence grows. Walking feels more secure. Leg cramps decline. Joints move with less stiffness. Standing from a chair requires less effort. Blood pressure fluctuations often stabilize, reducing lightheadedness and fear of falling. By day 7, the cumulative effect becomes unmistakable. Sleep deepens. Mornings feel lighter. Emotional balance returns. Energy rises in a way that feels steady and real, not forced or artificial. This change does not come from medication, powders, injections, or expensive interventions. It comes from restoring the most basic biological requirement that every cell in your body depends on to survive and function. For many seniors, proper hydration becomes the missing foundation that finally allows all other healthy habits to work as they were always meant to. The strength gained is not only physical. It is mental clarity, emotional steadiness, and the quiet return of independence. The body often responds with a sense of relief once its needs are met consistently, as if a long-ignored signal has finally been heard. Start tomorrow morning. Not next month. Not after another fall, another frightening moment of confusion, or another night of broken sleep. Small amounts, steady timing, and respect for your body's new rhythm can change the direction of aging itself. If this helped you, subscribe for real health education that is rarely explained this clearly. And in the comments, write your age and the exact day you are starting your 7-day hydration reset. When people see others beginning, they begin too.